Happy Thursday, everybody. Today was a cold, rainy day, and most of my patients were definitely feeling the weather change in their joints and their muscles today. And I've been doing a lot of recent videos on some pretty heavy subjects, and tonight I wanted to actually do something that was fun and entertaining, but also informative. So we're going to be talking about our genes, okay? What does it mean when we talk about genes, okay? Let's look at it this way. When you play a video game or you get on your computer and you push a button, that button tells the computer to do something. So it's been coded. There's a coding program that tells the computer to put up Instagram or to watch a video. That's all information that's been programmed into the computer. And so us as human beings, we have programming that's inside of us that tells our body to do certain things. It tells our body to grow hair. It tells our body what color of skin to have. It tells our muscles what to do, how to grow, what kind of nose we have, what kind of eye color we have. So there's certain things that are genetically programmed within us. So genes are these little DNA strands and amino acids that come together to produce a coding script, basically. And as we grow and develop, those codes are always copied and pasted. And as we age, sometimes our DNA can become damaged, and that's what changes our skin. That's what takes the color out of our hair. So depending on the health of our DNA and our genes can really dictate how we kind of live life. Are we going to live a healthy life? Are we going to live a sick life? And that really comes down to how we treat our bodies. So if we mistreat our bodies, that DNA can become damaged, or when it's copied and pasted, maybe that you take something and you photocopy it in the machine. You take the original, which is like a baby gene, and then you copy it once, and it looks the same, but it's kind of fuzzy. That's kind of like becoming a teenager, and then you take a copy of that copy, and now it's not so refined, and the paper looks has little black spots on it. That's kind of as we get a little bit older, and as you continue to recopy this copy, things get worse and worse. It's kind of like our DNA. If we don't treat our bodies right, that every time our body replicates DNA, it gets a little worse. So I'm going to have fun with you guys tonight, and we're going to see how genetically similar our human bodies are to other things that are on this planet. So the first thing I'm going to ask you guys is, how genetically similar do you think you are to a banana?
What?
A banana.
A banana?
Yes. How much of our DNA is this very same as a banana? So here's a good thing.
See if anybody has any answers.
Any ideas? Are you 1% a banana? Are you 10% banana? What's your idea?
Well, based on how many bananas I eat in a day,
Yeah.
I would say 0.5%.
Okay, Megan is guessing 0.5. So let's take a look at how similar human beings are to bananas.
60.
We are 60% identical to a banana.
Oh,
Yes.
bull crap.
So that should really tell you how really cool it is to be on this planet. We share a lot of our data, our coding that makes us who we are, with all the other things around us. So hobbies such as growing fruits or vegetables in a garden, that's actually really kind of cool and therapeutic to know that we are almost all the same in a weird way, right?
Autumn says she's all banana.
So most of her are 100% banana. Okay? So we're not so different than the things that are around us. And that's kind of what I'm trying to poke fun of and have a good time with you. So the next one is a cow. Don't have a cow, man. Okay? How much of our genetic sequence is identical to a cow's DNA sequences? Okay? If you're 60% banana, how much of a cow are you?
30? 80.
80%. We share 80% identical programming DNA sequences. That's really cool, but it makes sense. I mean, we may look a little different, but we both have eyes, tongues, teeth, hearts, intestines, reproductive systems, muscles, nerves, brain. We share all of that. So, God programmed us very similarly with our DNA sequences. So yes, we share 80% of our identical DNA with cows. Now let's shrink things down a little bit and let's talk about a mouse. Little tiny mouse. A cow is a big animal, so how much of our DNA do we share that's similar with a mouse?
I think it's got to be at least as high because they do all the testing on mice.
Oh, Megan brings up a good argument or a good point of view. In laboratories, when they're testing vaccines or they're testing drugs or therapies, and whatever you want to call it, they use animals in those testing. Now, the question you should ask is why? And Megan brought up a good point. They use mice quite often in lab testing to test drugs to see if it kills the mouse because we're genetically very similar. So our DNA and our body structures will react very similarly. So that's why they take mice and ferrets and monkeys and they, do lab experiments on them because it's unethical to do it on humans, right? We would never release a vaccine too early, right? No. Okay. I don't know if you guys got what I was trying to say, but there's a reason why we slaughter animals before we slaughter humans. We can sleep a little bit better at night knowing we killed a bunch of animals versus humans. But something was just released prematurely, in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. Let's see how similar we are to mice. 85%. So we are more like mice than we are like cows. I'm sure that makes some of us feel good, right?
You mean I'm not a one-ton animal? Got it.
Right. We're not one-ton animals. We're just tiny little mice. Okay? I wonder what DNA sequence the tail is, because we don't have tails. We have a coccyx, so we have a place in our spine down below where we could attach a tail. Maybe that we should look into that.
Some people
body
are born
modifications
with a tail. Ew.
through DNA.
No thanks.
Okay. Oh, the next one is a cat.
Everybody can.
Dang it! I didn't
Your
block
head's
it.
not big enough.
You think I'd get better at this over time? Okay. So look, our little furry kittens. I'm sure everybody would be upset if they knew that they were using cats in the labs. So
No, they're not.
Right? So we are 90% similar with our DNA sequences as cats. Kind of interesting. So, if you love your cat, it's almost like loving yourself.
Sure.
Some people love their
Except
cats
my
more
cat
than they
doesn't
love
love me
themselves.
back sometimes.
Yeah. Our cats, they're blue Russians.
Just Ghost is a blue Russian.
Is blue Russians. And they are very judgmental. They just stare at you like, I want to do that. So yes, we are 90% identical to the DNA sequences found in cats. The next one is a monkey.
Wow.
Boom.
96.
And again, that's why they use monkeys in labs to test things on, is because we are 96% similar with our DNA structure, which means our immune system, our muscles, our nervous system, everything like that is 96% identical. I just pat it.
Pat the monkey.
Dude, we owe a huge debt of gratitude and a lot of other stuff to chimpanzees and monkeys for what they've had to go through. Not only do we lock them up in zoos, but we also, a lot of monkeys die to try to advance medicine. So, yeah, we owe the animal kingdom a lot of gratitude for what they've done to help us. Yeah. So, really interesting, right? 96% of our DNA is identical to monkeys. The last one is, how identical are you to me? Or how identical am I to you? Human beings are 99.9% identical genetically. So that 0.1% that's different is what makes us look and act and talk and have different colors of skin, different colors of hair and eyes. All of the diversity that you see in the human species comes from 0.1% genetic DNA difference. We are so stinking identical, it's crazy. So maybe we should be a little bit more easygoing with our fellow mankind, because really we're almost identical copies, right? So I thought that that would be really fun to talk about, how similar we are to our DNA with everything that's around us, right? If we live on this planet and we consume water and we have to eat calories and we have to grow and reproduce, all of that programming, it needs to be shared throughout the animal kingdom. The reason I share that is maybe we should be a little bit more appreciative of our house cats and mice and monkeys and things like that, because we're not so different.
And bananas.
And go bananas. Okay. The next one is something that's really cool. So oftentimes people, they will say something like, oh, I have bad genes. Or if you look at somebody and they're really attractive and they're slim and fit and they're everything that we wish we were, we often will say, oh, they were blessed with good genes, right? Have you heard that saying before? And it's kind of fun to joke like that, but really, since we're all 99.9% identical, that should bring up a question. Why are some people blessed with certain things and some people aren't? Well, if you really want to think of it in a more scientific way, it's what we kind of expose our DNA to in our life that really kind of allows our DNA to either perform really well and make really good copies of itself, or if we mistreat our body and expose our DNA to certain stresses and chemicals and toxins, then that can actually change the way that our DNA copies over. And every time it copies, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and that leads to disease. Okay? So let's take a look real quick at the article, and we'll see what they have to say. So I went to the National Human Genome Research Institute, and they have a really cool description on how what we do to ourselves on a daily basis can have a great effect on our DNA programming. Let me talk about this real quick before I forget my train of thought. So the reason I put this up on the slideshow was when I was a young kid and I was going through high school, I was home one day and my mom said that Dad is going to have triple bypass surgery tomorrow. And I was in high school. I had to go to class the next day. And that really terrified me because my dad was only about 55 at the time. He was overweight. He wasn't obese, but he definitely carried more weight than he should have. And he didn't really treat himself right. He would drink Coca-Cola every day, and he had some bad habits. He never smoked or drank around us that I know of. But anyways, long story short is as a high school kid, seeing my dad almost die because of a heart attack because he was shortness of breath. He couldn't go up the stairs. He was having a hard time sleeping and laying down flat. It was terrifying for me. And at that time, my understanding of the body was very limited.
Did his dad also?
Yep. And then Megan brings up another good point. My grandpa, my dad's dad, died of a heart attack. Okay, so growing up, I always thought I was doomed, that my genetic makeup was going to kill me and that there was nothing I could do to change the outcome because I had bad genes. I had heart disease genes, right? And that's often, sadly enough, that's what we're taught. But the truth is absolutely the opposite of that. So growing up, going through school, then going through all my pre-med courses at the community college, and then also going through my doctorate program, that's the mindset I had. That's what I was taught, and that's what I believed, is that I was doomed to die of a heart attack or end up on the operating table like my dad did. And it wasn't until I actually learned the truth that I can control the way that my body responds and that I can control how I treat it so I don't have to go down the same road my dad did. And once I learned that and realized that I was in control and I didn't have to play the victim card anymore, that was really freeing, okay? So oftentimes I'll hear my patients say, oh, you know, I'm overweight or I have diabetes because my mom and dad have it. Well, the truth is, and now that we know more about DNA, it's not necessarily that they gave you bad DNA strands or coding. It's you guys have the same habits more likely. You grew up in the same house, you ate the same foods, you're around the same toxins, you had the same exercise habits and things like that. So it's not necessarily that your parents are giving you bad DNAs, they're giving you bad information on how to treat your body and keep it healthy and clean.
Well, don't they also say that, like, it is genetic how your body breaks down when it's not being treated properly, right? Like, like some people, their family, as their body breaks down, they have heart disease, and others have diabetes, or others have whatever. That's genetic, but it doesn't have to head down that road.
So Megan brings up a good point, which is very true. So our DNA sequences can be greatly affected very specifically. So some people, if they don't treat their body right, they can actually express heart disease or alcoholism. That's actually been tied to exposing it to our DNA to certain traumas and toxins and thoughts. So yes, when you mistreat your body, certain parts of that DNA strand can break down faster than others, which can lead to certain predisposition of disease. But it does not mean that you have to have it. You just have to avoid what is stressing your DNA out that will lead you down that road. And thank you, Megan, for bringing that up. That's really important. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like a car. If you put bad gas in a car, eventually the car is going to break down and you're going to have to buy a new one. Well, with our bodies, we can't buy replacements. So we really have to make sure we're maintaining and cleaning ourselves out and putting good things in. So our DNA can always perform at the highest level. Let's talk about, you know, our phones. If we have a bunch of programs on our phone and they're all active in the background, when you try to use like the internet and stuff, doesn't it lag? It takes forever, right? A new phone is always fast and easy because you haven't bombarded it with a bunch of programs that are stealing battery life from the phone. Just like our body, if we keep it clean and we treat it the right way, it's like buying a new phone. It works the best that it's been designed to do. But over the years, as we accumulate bad habits or we go through traumas, toxins, and thoughts, that's like putting a bunch of apps on your phone that just steal a lot of your processing power and steals your battery life. And then after 2 years, you're like, this is a piece of junk. And you get to replace it with a new one at the store, right? That's fine and dandy for a phone, but when it comes to our body, we don't have that option to just get new ones. So like I shared with you guys in the previous Facebook videos, the CDC even admits that up to 40% of what we're dying from every year is preventable. So again, that's a wonderful source to prove that you do not have to be a victim. You do not have to be a sick individual. We can actually turn things around, and I'm just sharing on a genetic level how that's possible. So yeah, anyways, with my dad and his triple bypass at the age of 55, I thought I was doomed, and I hear that from my patients a lot. So it's really nice to actually have real information shared and be able to communicate with my patients that they don't have to be sick like their mom or their dad, or they don't have to have issues like their brothers or sisters, because we are all genetically programmed for excellence. It's just what we do to ourselves over the course of the years that breaks us down, just like a phone, right? Just like a car, if you don't treat it right, it breaks down. That's why I shared with you guys how genetically similar we are to everything around us, you know? So let's see what the National Human Genome Research Institute has to say about our genes, okay?
So that third paragraph right there.
Yeah.
Leading cause of death.
I want to read this one too.
Okay.
So I'm going to read this. I'm going to share their perspective, and then we'll talk about what it means to me. Okay? They call genetics, or the study of genetics, genomics. Okay, just so you know why I'm saying genomics and not genetics. Okay? Genomics is helping researchers discover why some people get sick from certain infections, such as COVID. Why are some people getting sick and dying of COVID, but not everybody? Why is 1% dying, but not 99% of it? Maybe it's not the virus that we should be worried about. Maybe it's the host. Maybe it's the human body that we need to worry about so that they can fight off the virus. So we're kind of approaching that situation the wrong way. We really shouldn't worry about the virus. We need to worry about the host, the person. It's the person that's dying. And if it was the virus, we would have, instead of them saying, oh, we have 200,000 new cases today, if it was the virus, it would be 200,000 new deaths. You see the difference? Everybody's going to come in contact with it, but those that their bodies are healthy enough to fight it will win. 99% of people will win. Okay? So again, they're trying to figure out why some people get sick from certain infections, environmental factors, and behaviors, while others do not. For example, there are some people who exercise their whole lives, eat a healthy diet, have regular medical checkups, and die of a heart attack at age 40. That's pretty cool. Meaning, they're starting to see maybe they don't understand everything, which is a very humbling. And I love to see humble doctors, people that don't believe they know everything, and they're always kind of looking for more answers. I love that. Okay. There are also people who smoke, never exercise, eat unhealthy foods, and live to be 100. Genomics may hold the key to understanding these differences. Absolutely. So our DNA, we all get sick very differently. Okay. And so that's what they're saying. There's not a perfect answer, and they're still trying to figure it out. They're missing the whole inflammation part of sickness, okay? And so they're using two very extreme cases. And again, you got to realize that not everybody can smoke and not exercise and live to be 100, and not everybody that diets and exercise will die of a heart attack at 40. Those are very extreme spectrums. We're right in the middle, okay? So don't think you're one or the other. Just like me, I thought I was going to die of a heart attack like my dad at 55. Well, that's not going to be true. Okay? Now, here's the second paragraph that's really cool. Apart from accidents such as falls, motor vehicle accidents, or poisonings, genomic factors play a role in 9 out of 10 deaths. The leading causes of death in the United States, for example, heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. All human beings are 99.9% identical in their genetic makeup. Differences in the remaining 0.1% hold important clues about the cause of disease. I don't really think that, but they do. That's cool. Gaining a better understanding of the interaction. This is the part where they really hit it on the head. I love it because they're searching. They have some truth, right? Gaining a better understanding of the interactions between genes and the environment by means of genomics is helping researchers find better ways to improve health and prevent disease. Very cool. So right there, they nailed it right on the head, which is gaining a better understanding of the interactions between the genes and the environment. So just like I said, they're trying to understand the connection of what we expose ourselves to and how we're dying of the disease, okay? So again, there's so much more I can talk about, but I wanted to keep this subject light, fun, and informative. I hope you guys may have learned something new tonight. Maybe that, just because your mom and dad had certain health issues doesn't mean that you have to go down that same path. Once I realized that for myself, it made my life a whole lot better. It gave me more energy and focus on actually controlling the outcome of my life and not just being a victim. So anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday night. The weekend's almost here. I hope you guys have something fun to do. Get out, get about, get some sun on your skin. Try to make the best. Get out in nature. We're connected to it way more deeper than you may think. Our bodies need that exposure. So yeah, you may be told to stay in your house, but go out to a park, go to a lake, just go somewhere outside. It'll do you some good. And thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time.